Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to the King Island Ordinary Council meeting for the month of June 2024. For the record, today's date is Tuesday, the 18th of June 2024. I call the meeting to order and declare the meeting open at 4:02 p.m. by my watch. Usual housekeeping, if everyone can please make sure their mobile phones are put on silent or turned off so we're not interrupted. Thank you. Item 1, as always, is qualified advice. Pursuant to Section 65 of the Local Government Act of the State of Tasmania, 1993, qualified advice has been received to fully prepare the agenda for this afternoon. Item 2, attendance and apologies. I welcome all councillors and staff in attendance this afternoon. Let's just confirm our quorum numbers of councillors. We have an apology and we also have a leave of absence being submitted. So taking those into consideration, we have 7 of 9 councillors. So we have a quorum and we are good to transact council business. Staff, King Island staff, council staff are here as required. Everyone's here and we've done our communications checks with those that have dialed in. So we've got everyone here, that's great. There are no staff apologies, are there, tonight? Excellent, great to have you all here. It's my pleasure to welcome our newest council employee, Rethan Catino, joined the King Island Council team this week in our finance team. So welcome to Rethan. Great to have you working with us. Media attendance, proceedings are being recorded as per normal business. Public attendance, on behalf of King Island Council, I welcome all interested constituents, as always, here this afternoon, and of course those that will subsequently listen to our recording afterwards. Opening statement, if everyone can please stand. Councillors, to begin this meeting, I ask you to stand in silence to pray or reflect on our responsibilities to the people of King Island. We begin today by acknowledging the traditional custodians of the land on which we meet today and pay our respects to their elders past and present. We extend that respect to Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander peoples here today. Thank you. Please resume your seats. Item 3, presentations, there are nil. Item 4, as always, public question time. If a constituent in our gallery, of which there's only one, Faye, our reliable attendee, if a constituent in our gallery wishes to ask a question without notice, we will generally allow 15 minutes maximum of public question time for those that may wish to attend future council meetings. Faye, we have your discretion if you'd like to ask council a question, you're welcome.
I'd like an update on the hub improvements. How are they progressing at the moment, please?
We've got a report in our council agenda coming later on that very subject.
I'm satisfied with that.
Excellent. Thank you, Faye. All right, we'll move on to item 5's declaration of interests. Received a couple here. I've got them on here in front of me. I'll just check them off for the ordinary meeting. Okay, got those here. No worries. Those individuals can recuse themselves later on in the meeting when we get to those items. Thank you. Item 6, questions without notice. Does any councillor have a question without notice? Councillor Layla.
Can councillors receive an update on the shipping group, its current makeup, members and chairperson? And can I confirm that King Island Council is still the secretariat for this group, please?
We will take that question on notice and we will give you an update on the shipping group. The shipping group hasn't convened for a while, primarily because the Drought Roundtable shipping discussions recently conducted and chaired by NRE superseded the shipping group somewhat, and in fact supercharged that whole area. So we let that hold sway. But your point is a good one. We do and we will reconvene the shipping group sometime soon when the timing is right, hopefully working towards the completion of the Grassy Harbour expansion study that has been promised to us and other things. So we'll take that on notice, but question well made. Thank you, Councillor Layla. Any other questions from councillors? Okay, item 7, confirmation of the previous minutes. The previous ordinary council meeting was held last month on the 21st of May. Those minutes have been distributed and hopefully perused by all. If councillors are happy, would somebody like to move acceptance of those previous minutes? Thank you. Deputy Mayor has moved. Councillor Bowden has seconded. All those in favour? Carried unanimously. The minutes are received and accepted. Over to item 8, item 8.1, Mayor's Diary for May, for last month, obviously. I'd just like to say that from my perspective as Mayor last month, the crowning achievement of May was the Need for Feed operation. It was fantastic for all of us to be a part of. It was great to see King Island come together in incredible solidarity and teamwork. And my heartfelt thanks as Mayor go out to all the organisations that were involved, starting with the Lions Clubs of Australia, Lions Need for Feed, Eastern Line Shipping, Tasports, the transport operators involved, Victorian farmers. There is a cast of thousands involved, and I know I'm missing so many, but a heartfelt thanks to all those organisations, as well as King Island locals who piled in to assist with catering and distribution of that feed, and it's still ongoing to this day. So my congratulations to everyone. It's amazing what King Island can do when we find ourselves in a time of need and we come together as a community, assisted by others, and so I thank everyone for their involvement. Has anybody got any questions relating to my diary for last month? No questions. Would somebody therefore like to move the recommendation on page 12? Councillor Cook has moved, I've seconded. Councillor Green has seconded. All those in favour? Carried unanimously. Thank you. Over to item 9.1, operations report for May. We did discuss today improving the format of this report, so that is a work in progress that we will look to fine-tune this format. I'll highlight also that the grassy Main Street footpath is second footpath. New footpath there is currently under construction at the moment. We're already getting very positive feedback on that, so thank you to Paul and his works team that are doing that. When that's completed in the week or so ahead, that will give Grassy a high street, a main street, civilised main street with footpaths on both sides of the road, and we hope that will assist the further revival of Grassy and assist the businesses and the club and maybe food vans and the little supermarket they have there with business and growth and more of it to come. So that's good news for the week, I highlight from the Works Department. We'll go through this section by section. Any questions? Councillor Green?
Oh, it's not really a question. I just want to say thank you to Paul for getting some new stops down in the main street. Very welcome. Thank you very much.
I'll just comment on the grassy ground. I think it's ready to take football on Saturday. Everything should be right by Friday. All
Yes.
going well.
Yes, we had a meeting on that yesterday. Thanks to all involved, again, Paul, the Works team, Deputy General Manager and others, Grassy Footy Club, of course. Things are coming together for that. We are set for the first Grassy home game this coming Saturday. A few last minute things to put in place, but we're almost there. But the game's going ahead on Saturday, and so again, another big event for Revival, another big part of the Grassy Revival. So it's great to see it happening, and I thank all involved. It's been a few years in the making, but we've finally arrived. So thanks to all involved, and I encourage all to go down on Saturday and watch the game. And Grassy Hawks might turn around their fortune so far this season as well. It's going to be a fantastic event, and well done to all involved.
And one more comment, just the sealing of the long-term car park at the airport, it's running really smoothly. Once again, thanks for getting that all done. It's, looks beautiful, and it's a great entry to the airport, so well done.
Yes, well put, Councillor Hill. Councillor Cook?
Yeah, last month I queried these waste levy things, and this month it's the same thing, but its figures work out pretty much the same, so it's okay. But just a suggestion, maybe we could change the format of this waste collection thing so that it's a bit easier to understand. And also the graphs on page 16 and 17. Do we need to have them in the council report? Couldn't they go to the waste committee and then they could be dissected there, because they mean nothing as they are in this form?
Unless we have a statutory requirement to report tonnages or something along those lines.
But we're just through the Mayor, we're going to have a look at these reports and make them a bit more usable and user-friendly and a bit more informative, so we can take that on notice, Councillor.
Any further questions then related to waste volumes or locations? All right, is there no further discussion or questions then? Would somebody like to move that the operations report for May 2024 be received and noted? Councillor Cook has moved. I have a seconder. Councillor Layla has seconded. All those in favour? Carried unanimously. Thank you. Over the page to item 9.2, the airport report for May. You can see there, stats reflect that we are entering the winter airline schedules which are reduced. There is plenty of things still going on at the airport, as was mentioned by Councillor Healy. The long-term car park, sealing of that has been a great recent success, so well done to the airport team and the works crew and others that contributed to that. As we know, it was a challenge to get the abandoned vehicles out, but that was met with surprising, I was impressed with how quickly and swiftly we were able to do that to facilitate the work that's been done, so thanks to the team there. Any comments, questions, discussion from councillors regarding the airport? Councillor Whaler.
Just some more information about the corrective actions would be interested to find out. This is review the corrective actions, the receipt of the annual technical inspection received, and review the corrective actions and update the register. Was there many for a start?
Through the GM to Colin for that one.
I might refer the question to Mr. Fort.
We have the annual technical inspections of the airport, and that's a statutory requirement. Those reports will go through to the board, and that's one of the compliance activities that we've got for the airport, that we report back through the board, and anything that's significant obviously goes back up through to council.
Okay. Any further questions then? Discussion related to airport operations? The Deputy Mayor has moved. I have a seconder. Councillor Cook has seconded. All those in favour? Carried unanimously. Report received and accepted. Over the page, item 10.1, Community Development Report for May. Again, I'd like to welcome AJ, Alison Jacks, to the King Island Council team as our Community Development Manager. We gave you an intro last council meeting, but we weren't physically here, so it's good to see you physically here with us today, and again, welcome. We'll take questions from councillors, but through UGM at AJ's discretion, if she wants to give any plugs for anything specific or cover any wave tops, you're welcome to.
No, I'm just still trying to find my way. So unless I have any direct questions from the councillors, I'm pretty good.
Again, your report in our council agenda is a two-part report. There might be an opportunity for us to consolidate those two reports or combine the two reports, and tweak the format there. So I'm sure you'll be all over that in no time. Less being more. If there are no questions then or discussion, would somebody like to move the recommendation on page 21? The report be received and noted. Councillor Green has moved. Councillor Healy has seconded. All those in favour? Carried unanimously. Over the page, part 2 of the Community Development Manager report. This one more focused on art and cultural development. The Dogs of King Island. We love our dogs here on King Island, as everyone knows. So that exhibition is a success already, and I was there for the opening day. So well done with that. Again, the gallery continues to freshen up its exhibits every few months to keep things interesting for locals and visitors alike. That's been good. The visitor numbers reflect that, and again, art sales and turnover is increased as well. So that's good to see that facility doing what we wanted it to do after we renamed it and did some other things last year. So that's good. And Mel Robson, the artist in residence from Alice Springs, with us at the moment.
Oh, she's gone now.
Oh, she's gone now. Okay, all right. I was going to say it's although it gets cold in Alice Springs too, but experiencing a cold King Island winter for her would be quite a dramatic change, I'm sure. Councillor Wade?
Yeah, I just had a question around the current gallery coordinator, just out of interest who that was and whether that was a paid or voluntary position.
Currently I believe that's Taylor, and it's a paid position, which we are looking and discussing that to expand her role into more assisting with community development and developing her role to assist me. She's got a lot of skills in this area, so that's something I'm in discussions with Nadia and Catherine with.
So it's a part-time paid
Yeah, it's
role.
at 20 hours at the moment.
Okay.
She's just asked to increase it, so it'll be 20 hours minimum.
Okay, no worries. I trust we'll consider that, and maybe a seasonal approach. Again, with what the council can commit budget-wise as well might be considered. But Taylor's recently been overseas as well.
She should be back.
That's why we haven't seen her around for a little while.
Yep, correct.
Hopefully she'll be. Is she back? Is she back now? She'll be back soon.
I think it's next week. hopefully.
Yeah, that may be why you haven't seen her around recently.
No, I just hadn't heard about it, that's all,
Ah,
at
yeah.
all.
Yeah, well, that's,
So that was
again,
just-
probably explains a bit of that as well.
Through you, Mr Mayor.
Yeah, Deputy Mayor.
Did we pay the airfare for Alice Springs for the artist to come down?
No, I believe she paid it.
We'll confirm that.
Yeah. Actually, I can confirm that she did pay for it herself.
Okay, yeah, most of our artists and residents come from Tasmania or Victoria.
Across the board, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, they pay for their airfares. I think that's part
Okay,
of the
good. I'm thinking
contract.
perhaps more recent ones, but
Yeah.
okay. Any other questions then or discussion from councillors related to this report? Would somebody like to move that the cultural development report for May be received and noted? Councillor Green has moved. Deputy Mayor has seconded. All those in favour? Carried unanimously. Over the page, item 11.1, Growth and Strategy Report for May. Most of this has been workshopped in recent months, so most of this should be familiar to us. Any questions or discussions from councillors are welcome at their discretion. Councillor Green.
Through the GM to Helen, I'm just wondering about this Yellow Rock Consulting that's being engaged to focus on the beef industry and the future focus of the drought. Where are they going to actually fit in? Who are they? I mean, we've got a lot of drought coordinators and sort of things on the island at the moment. How are we going about obtaining all this information?
So the scope for Yellow Rock Consulting is to do a baseline image of King Island's economic drivers. So if you cast your mind back, if you've gone through the archives of the council website, you'll find a King Island stocks and flows document from about 2016 that talks about the main drivers for the island. So what Yellow Rock is doing is looking at how our island operates differently now. So obviously in that time, the golf courses have appeared, and that's massively changed how tourism operates on the island. And an increase in corporate farms has changed how the beef industry is working, for example. So we start off with a baseline of what's different, and then what this consultant is going to be doing is trying to extrapolate from all of the farmers and a little bit from the other drought coordinators and other agencies that are on the island and around at the moment, what the likely or possible outcomes are going to be over the next couple of years, and so what the roll-on effect of that will be on the broader island. Does that answer your question?
Councillor Labour.
So, through Captain, in regards to that, how is the communication with the drought coordinators occurring? Is someone meeting with them regularly? Because
I'm not actually involved in the conversations with the drought coordinator. So just to be clear, this piece of work is very specifically about the economic impact on the island rather than part of the response to the drought. I'm not sure who the right person is to answer the question about communication with the drought coordinator at the moment. I'm sorry.
my question's around because of some of the crossovers and some of the, I think there hasn't been a lot of clarity in the roles. I particularly have also spoken to NRE. I just want us to be, part of their discussions as well. So we're all on the same page is probably where I'm been trying to come from, as I usually do, trying to connect people.
Through the Mayor, we did meet with the drought coordinator and we have kept in contact with her so that we're aware of what some of the issues are, so that communication is still occurring.
I note also that the drought coordinator's position here is only funded for another month or two. I
think so.
It has an expiry date that's quickly approaching. We need to keep that in mind as well.
And
Councillor Healy.
through the General Manager again to Helen, in 3.4.12, there's just a mention of Wayfarer ring signage, that's all happening as it should be. I'm just wondering how that's going. Are we ordered signage? Progress design and ordering of visitor Wayfarer signage. I've noticed a couple of little lovely concrete pillars all beautifully painted and things, but just wondering how that's going.
I'm very happy to hear about the pillars, but unfortunately I don't think I can take credit for that. That's not part of this project, but hooray. the signage project, I've been talking with the Department of State Growth over the last couple of weeks, and they seem to think that they should be paying for the signs that we want. So I've encouraged them to do that and waiting for them to come back to me with more detail on what's happening. So what that means is I unfortunately don't have an installation date for the signs yet, but we could have another source of income for that, which would be nice. So watch this space.
Councillor Layla again.
Would it be possible to get a list of the signs that are proposed? Only because I get asked a lot, particularly in the Narra Cooper area, and if I can say, oh, that's sorted, I'd be real happy.
Yes, absolutely. I can share that with councillors after the meeting through the General Manager.
Just on signage, I also note recently that the shipwreck cans have been replaced with new and improved materials. That was paid for by NRE, but Paul and the Works team replaced those recently and did a good job. So they're obviously historical markers, but they're equally important to us locals and to visitors and tourists alike. So it's good to see that those are back again. And signage continues to be an issue for King Island, as we know. Signage, King Island is hard on materials, as we know, and signage here deteriorates probably more rapidly than most other places in the country, and fades, etc., and or blows over. And needs replacement, and we also need some new and improved signage around the place as well. We did have some funding last financial year allocated for it, but it recently hasn't been an area of sufficient focus, and maybe it's an area we need to focus on again in a bit more detail, because there's certainly some new and improved signage that's needed around the island. Any further questions then from councillors relating to this? Somebody like to move that the Growth and Strategy Report be accepted? Councillor Healy has moved. Councillor Layla has seconded. All those in favour? Carried unanimously. Over the page, the King Island Hub update, also recently workshopped. Faye, there's a good report in there about where we're at the moment, but in particular, all have noticed that construction has commenced of the hub. They are boxing up at the moment the massive slab with all the pipe work and wiring looms and everything that goes in it. You can see from off on the periphery. So that's exciting to see that construction has commenced and things are starting to take shape. Hopefully the weather does the right thing by us in the weeks ahead as we lay that huge amount of concrete and do other things. So that's good to see. Any specific questions then or discussion related to the hub? A lot of interest from the gallery through UGM, if Helen would like to give us a...
Yes. Ms Thomas, over to you.
A quick update.
The report as written is where things were at last week. I did meet with the hub team yesterday morning and things are going very well. So we're refining our lighting program. We've got, as the Mayor has mentioned, our plumber was on the island last week and they've got all of their conduit and pipes underneath the slab. We've got things moving ahead really well. So it's a very exciting time for the hub, and also a lot of good work in terms of planning for the operations. So I've met with UTAS and TASTAFE, had a look at their virtual classroom that we're looking to recreate in the hub and how that technology works, which is all very exciting. So yeah, just very positive and good at the moment.
Thank you, Helen. Any other discussion then? Specific questions from councillors? Councillor Layla?
Has the power connection and the throughput through, particularly in regards to the boathouse, been further discussed further?
It has been discussed at length, yes. So we don't have a final answer yet. We're waiting for a contractor to come back to the island next week to talk to us about the different options for trenching. So what we are working towards, and hopefully we'll have towards the end of this month, if not early in July, will be a cost comparison for councillors on an off-grid solution for the boathouse, so wind or solar and a battery, or an in-ground trench that would either go around the walkway from the harbour to the boathouse or potentially down the hill from the lens room to the boathouse. So we just need to get some idea of what's possible. I don't know if you've looked down that cliff from the lens room to the boathouse, but I certainly wouldn't want to be driving any machinery down there to dig a trench. So we'll be asking for what's possible and how much the different options are, and we'll present that to Councillor Working Group, the Hub Working Group, for a decision on what to recommend to councillors.
Thank you. We're content. Would somebody like to move the recommendation? Page 27. Councillor Cook has moved. A seconder. Councillor Green has seconded. All those in favour? Councillor Healy, you with us or you? Carried unanimously. Thank you. Over the page, item 12.2, Curry Courts improvements. Again, we've recently workshopped this. At the moment, we are waiting for the grant authority to give us the green light on our revised scope and our revised intentions to redeploy what funding they will permit us to redeploy from the old community gym to refurbishing all of the courts, the netball and tennis courts next to the Wilf Stonemakers complex there. So we're waiting for the grant authority to give us that green light to confirm our budget and the scope of work that they'll fund. And then once that's approved, we can crack on and do it. So again, we're anticipating good news, and we're anticipating we'll be able to do what we want to do, but we've still got to wait for that green light from the federal grant authority. Any other questions? Councillor
Yes,
Healy?
through you, General Manager, probably again to Helen. Any time frame on that? I know that we've had some quotes for the actual works to be done, and I know little can happen until we actually get this. Is it months? Is it 6 months? Is it longer? And in which case will it impact on the quotes we've had to do the work?
So the progress with the grant administrators has been really good, and I anticipate us having a decision from them in the next few weeks. We have got a meeting scheduled with our our engaged contractor next week with our work health safety coordinator and works manager, so that we can go through some of the detail of what's required for them to actually do the works. But the plan at the moment, subject to approval of funding and weather and reality, the plan is that we have the cleaning of the courts, so the grinding off of current surfaces and installation of new equipment and fencing happening over the winter. So likely to be August-ish. And then the resurfacing of the courts requires a certain amount of warmth and dryness. And so we're looking at scheduling that for January or February next year. But we should have more detail in the next month or two.
If we're successful with our ambitions on that front, we will continue to bring the whole Curry Oval precinct to life. And whilst you're away, to Councillor Healy, the new lighting for the Oval was approved by a separate grant authority as well. So we're having a few wins, rejuvenating the Curry Oval complex area, including the courts across the road. So yeah, watch this space. Any further questions then, or discussion related to this item? Deputy Mayor has moved. I have a seconder. Councillor Laidler has seconded. All those in favour? Carried unanimously. Right, thank you. Across to item 13.1. The main event for tonight is the proposed annual budget for next financial year, associated fees and charges, and our annual plan. I just firstly note the accompanying documents. We have an annual plan and budget estimates separate booklet here and document, which is part of the package. We have a fees and charges document as well, part of the proposal package. And I also highlight the budget financial tables that are attached in the agenda, pages 39 to 42. So they all need to be taken into consideration for the passing of this motion. What we'll do is I'll start off with an opening soliloquy. We've as councillors in workshops, we've been working on this for 4 or 5 months, so most of this is familiar to us, but I'll give an opening soliloquy. We'll then go on with some councillor discussion and questions related to the information there. And we'll then focus specifically on the wording and the recommendations, and we'll make sure we're happy with that before I call for a mover in a second, and then we'll progress things that way. I think that will work best for us. So that's how we'll skin this cat. I'll start off with an opening soliloquy and we'll go from there. As Mayor and on behalf of Council, I'm very pleased to give the opening soliloquy today to present details of our financial year 24-25 budget. Council is putting up tonight a proposed $15.56 million, that's gross revenue, budget for the upcoming 24-25 financial year. This will be the second biggest budget in our 116-year history and only marginally smaller than our biggest, which is this financial year, at 15.62 million gross revenue. Our new budget continues to be boosted by both federal and state grant funding for the ongoing delivery of major projects, road resealing and renewal programs, community and recreation infrastructure. This is largely due to Council's ongoing and highly successful advocacy, which not only delivers new investment that we could otherwise not afford, but also plugs into our financial bottom line. I describe our financial year 24-25 budget as both responsible and disciplined. We have tightened the expenditure belt slightly due to current economic and cost of living headwinds, as well as our drought situation. We are an enviable low debt council with no new borrowings planned for next financial year. Our total loan balances are estimated to reduce from $632,000 to $285,000 next financial year, so our remaining debt will be halved next financial year to an amount that is less than most household mortgages. The main focus of our budget and capital works for the next financial year is pivoted back to core council business. Improved service delivery, public asset maintenance, completion of a number of significant community capital works projects, and overdue replacement of some of our large plant machinery. Council's operating budget also funds ongoing services that Council delivers that our ratepayers expect and deserve. Some of our community capital works projects budgeted for next financial year include completion of the hub, as we've just discussed, with the exciting opportunities that will provide, completion of the Curry tennis courts and netball courts, again, which we've recently discussed, over $1 million for roads and bridges, resealing and renewal, roof replacements for the Curdo and Council depot buildings, improved playground at Narracoopa, new parking configuration, roadside and drainage improvements in Main Street, Curry, implementation of waste and recycling programs, new footpaths and airport upgrades. Our council fees and charges for next financial year and property rates will increase by, on average, only 3.74%, which places King Island as one of the lowest increases in Tasmania. Compare our 3.74% increases to others passed in recent weeks in Tasmania. Here's a couple. Burnie, 6.88%. Central Coast, 5.86%. Huon Valley Council, 7%. Kingborough Council, 9.8%. By further comparison, Australia's biggest council, Brisbane City Council, increased their rates and fees and charges next year by 3.8%. So as pledged, we have again done our best to meet our ratepayers halfway. Your elected councillors and the whole council team, in particular I shout out to Malcolm here, have delivered budget settings through exceptionally sound financial management that provides continued stability for us to navigate through uncertain times. I'm again confident this budget will give our constituents, King Island industries, small business developers, investors and tourism operators full confidence in our future upwards trajectory. For a small country council, we certainly punch above our weight, serving the best interests of our island and our ratepayers. I commend this budget to you. We'll move on now for a general discussion and or questions from councillors, and then we'll go on and focus on the technical wording in the recommendations before we again call for a mover and a seconder. So take your time, but at the discretion of the councillors, questions or discussion are welcome. Yes, again, as I mentioned at the start, we've been workshopping this for many, many months, so most of it is familiar to us. We can move on then, perhaps, and focus on the recommendations. Just, Leah, if you can you bring up the recommendations on pages 37 and 38 here? Okay, we'll just go through and make sure we're happy with the wording and the technical detail and the numbers that are in there before we call for a mover and a seconder.
Keep going.
Yeah, just scroll up a bit.
It's not coloured on that, that's all right.
That's all right. Any questions, discussion then related to the recommendations? A lot of it is council policy that we're required to...
Under the Act. Under
the Act, we're required to table, even though it wasn't something we Deputy Mayor?
Move it.
I'll move the recommendations, and congratulate Catherine and Malcolm and the staff for helping us work through this in the councillors. It's been a few weeks. think we've come up with a pretty good budget.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Yes, again, well done, Malcolm, for all the work you've put in and getting us to where we are today. We expected to be doing this actually next week, but the fact that we were able to make this ordinary meeting tonight was mostly due, Malcolm, to your hard work. So again, thanks for that. Seconder, Councillor Laidler has seconded. Thank you. All those in favour to pass the budget? Carried unanimously. Thank you. Across to page 43. The General Manager's report for May. Again, much of this content has recently been discussed in our numerous workshops, so we'll move through this quickly unless there's questions or discussion points. And at your discretion too, if you'd like to highlight anything, as
Thank you,
always.
Mr Mayor. It's pretty straightforward. Happy to answer any questions.
Councillor Green.
On page 44 for the GM update 3.4.5, I'm just wondering if you can give us a briefing on what might have been discussed with Ocean Dunes Manager to discuss other opportunities. Do you want to provide a briefing note, or can you speak to that now?
Through the Mayor, I'm just wondering what was commercial in confidence. So clearly this was because the funding from Growing Regions program was not successful. And Ms Thomas will kick me if I'm saying something incorrectly, but I think it's fair to say that they were disappointed, but that they were looking at various options in relation to progressing some type of development that would be still very beneficial for them and the community and the council.
And we've certainly taken on our own lessons learnt from that proposed joint venture as well. Which
I think it's, again, just fair to say that Growing Regions program did not fund any housing programs at all. So it wasn't, albeit it wasn't explicit in the criteria, they must have chosen not to put funding into that category.
All right, if there's no further discussion and councillors are content, would somebody like to move the recommendations on page 47? Or the recommendation on page 47, I should say. The General Manager's report for May be received and noted. Councillor Cook has moved. Councillor Laidler has seconded. All those in favour? Carried unanimously. Over the page, council workshops held. 5 workshops held over that reporting period leading up to the budget we just passed. Again, thanks to everyone involved, particularly Malcolm and the staff, for all the contributions and getting into our budget what is in there for us to deliver next financial year. Really nothing further to add, is there, on this? So if we're happy, would somebody like to move that the council workshop report be received and noted? Councillor Green has moved. Deputy Mayor has seconded. Thank you. All those in favour? Carried unanimously. Across the page, item 13.4, the information report for May. Again, we'll go through this section by section. It's good to see the cafe fit out for the airport listed there in the top box. Wow, it's been a long time coming, but hopefully if it's not happening already, it's happening very soon. The permit is a good start. Over the page to procurements, there's quite a list of them now. With the investments we're making as a council, any discussion or questions relating to those, and there'll be more added soon, won't there, as well, now that we're past our budget.
Yes.
All right, we'll move on to the actions list from page 36. Just a reminder that it's reverse order, so the most recent are at the bottom of the list as we go through it. As the action items are closed off, they're removed. So therefore all the ones remaining on this list are still pending in some shape or form. Some of them are slow burn and longer term, and some of them are
due to come off once they're reported.
Okay. Yes. Once they're reported, it's completed, we remove them the following month. I did follow up just on item 2724, page 60, changing leave of absence requirements for councillors. I did follow up on that after last council meeting, as I mentioned I would, with the Office of Local Government, and I've heard absolutely nothing back so far from them, which is a bit disappointing. But I'll again follow up on that matter. So at the moment I get something back or anything shared with us, obviously I'll let you know.
Mr Mayor, once we've finished the budget, I think we should put a bit of pressure on the government to fix up the RSL Park and get some results. It's been going on for too long.
For way too long.
On page 64, there's a Tasmanian planning scheme, our draft local provision schedule. We have our last hearing for that with the Planning Commission tomorrow. For interest, it'll be in here from 10 a.m. if anyone's interested in sitting in as an observer. Any more questions or discussion on the actions list? Or we then move on to service requests for May 21. It's about our monthly average, which is usually about 20. So the usual suspects there. Again, this is a format we're going to continue to tweak away and improve.
Yes.
Based on discussions we've had previously. And the backlog of service requests as well, as we discussed today, the backlog of service requests is reducing, and they're being cleared, or they're being removed from the service request system if it's something that is not the council's responsibility or something we can't deliver for whatever reason. It's being scrubbed off as well. Any questions then? Discussion on service requests, actions list or anything else? Okay. If we're content, would somebody like to move that the information report for May be received and noted? Councillor Healy's moved. Councillor Green has seconded. All those in favour? Carried unanimously. Over the page, item 13.5, Deputy General Manager's report. Councillor Healy, this is new. We've added because the Deputy General Manager now has a range of discrete portfolios and responsibilities. We've created a separate report in here for him. So this will be new to you for when you were last with us. Just for info, at the discretion of the Deputy GM, if you'd like to give anything a specific plug.
I take it as read, thanks, Mayor.
Okay. We'll leave cats alone. I won't mention cats this month. There's some nervous cats around King Island at the moment, let me tell you. All right, again, if we're content, somebody would like to move the recommendation on page 77. Councillor Green has moved. A seconder? Councillor Cook has seconded. All those in favour? Carried unanimously. Over the page, item 13.6, Community Assistance Program, otherwise known as our Community Sponsorship Program. Recently workshopped, we allocate $30,000 per financial year, and what we are committing to spend today through this motion is about half of the $30,000 budget. We'll still have $16,000 left over for subsequent applicants that come in next financial year after these initial ones are pre-cleared. But we're also offering up in-kind assistance from council there in the form of labour, some services and other things that we do that are delivered by our team, but not in the form of cash. The summary table is attached, and all the original applications we've received so far are also attached. We're going to do Curdo first. So if the Deputy Mayor and Councillor Laidler can just quickly step out, thank you. We'll do that as a standalone serial and then we'll do the rest. Okay, in kind. All right. So we'll vote on Curdo first. Somebody like to move that we fund Curdo to the amount there listed? Councillor Green has moved, thank you. Have a seconder. Councillor Bowden has seconded. All those in favour? Carried, thank you. We need the five of us. We've got the five of us there. All right, Paul, can you grab Deputy Mayor and Councillor Laidler back in for us?
I think Serena's going to stay out until we.
Also,
we'll do the land
do the land care next. Yes, we'll do the land care, Serena, then we'll call you in. Let me see the land care again. We'll just give you a minute, Leah, to cut and paste. Oh no, it's cash. It's cash for land care. Inkweed. Yeah, we'll just let Leah catch up. All right, here we go. $2,500 cash for Landcare's Inkweed project. Councillor Healy's moved. A seconder. Councillor Green has seconded. All those in favour? Carried unanimously. 6 of us this time. All right.
Someone going?
Yeah, she can come back in. So that leaves the rest, doesn't it?
Yes, it does.
Mindful that we don't have enough information yet for the Pony Club to count them in, but hopefully they'll fill that information gap and we'll approve theirs down the track. I'd just like to remind again organisations that are listening in, this is the initial funding for next financial year. We still have approximately $16,000 of cash remaining allocated next financial year for community sponsorship. We know the Grassy Footy Oval with their first couple of home games this weekend, they'll see some gaps in kit or equipment or whatever else they might need to run their new digs there, etc. And we know there are plenty of other King Island community organisations that need and deserve some sponsorship. So again, this is a plug for this program of ours. This funding here is available. Get your applications into the council early next financial year, and we'll consider them and see what we can do about it. All right, so we're now going to vote on the remainder. So somebody like to move the remaining? Deputy Mayor has moved. Seconder? Councillor Cook has seconded, thank you. All those in favour? Carried unanimously. 7 of us. All right. Across the page at the back, page 100. General Manager's council meeting schedule. We, like we tried to do last year, and we sort of achieved it last year, but more so this year, we propose to move our July council meeting back a couple of weeks to allow a mid-year, a winter break or winter recess, coinciding with Tasmanian school holidays for all of us that like to get off the island, have a break and usually go somewhere warmer. So that's what our proposal is. We propose to move the meeting next month to the 30th of July so that we can have at least a good 2 clear weeks with no workshops and no commitments and nothing, and then allow ourselves a week to come back on deck to have any workshops that will then feed into the council meeting the week after. So that's why we've pushed it right back to the 30th of July next month. That's our thinking, justification there. So, all right, somebody like to move? Councillor Cook has moved. A seconder? Deputy Mayor has seconded. All those in favour? Carried unanimously. And again, I just highlight to all staff those first 2 weeks of July, again, to give ourselves a break, allow,
It's okay.
leave to be taken or whatever else. Try not to schedule anything unless we absolutely have to.
We won't.
And if you can go somewhere warmer, please do so and enjoy. All right, so item 14, back page, closed council. Would somebody like to move that we adjourn to closed council? Councillor Laidler has moved. Councillor Green has seconded. All those in favour? Carried unanimously. The ordinary meeting is adjourned. I thank the public for attending, and we'll take a quick break.